What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Just Apex Clips, where today we have a much requested video just for you guys. As always, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and click on the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. With that done, here's today's video. Who doesn't like a good tier list? We sure do, and as far as we can tell, you guys are also fans. And what better way to celebrate the high of Season 9 of your favorite game than by taking a look at the characters and how they compare. We'll be ranking these based on their performance, buffs, and overall usefulness in playing the game, and feel free to tell us what your picks are down in the comments below. Now, without any further ado, this is our list of Apex Legends characters as they stand in Season 9. Starting at the very bottom of the list, we have the D tier. And these are the characters that people only play with so they can unlock other ones and be done with them. They're generally a pain, and no one in their right mind would prefer these over the rest. And for that, we have Mirage. Now, some of you may rank him higher on the list, but as it stands, we think he just doesn't have what it takes to be a standout character. His buff is distracting at worst, and he has next to no utility as a team player. So we place him here at the very bottom of D tier. Next up, we've got Fuse. Although fans love the idea of the grenade god initially, once Fuse became a mainstay, we've quickly realized just how mediocre he really is. The abilities are generally lacking, too clumsy, and easy to avoid, and he's just not a good team player right now. And so he's at the bottom in our D tier. Moving on to the C tier. The characters here are not all bad, and actually quite useful in niche situations. But as a whole, they have less than ideal buffs and generally don't play well with teams. Starting off, we have LOBA. LOBA has steadily gotten better over the last few seasons, and for good reason. The bracelet is a really neat addition, and her mobility is not too bad, but fact remains that her buffs still aren't that useful most of the time. After that, we have RAMPART. We do understand she's more than good in defensive situations, with neat abilities that can work well when needed. But the fact remains that despite her good defense, her offense just isn't good enough. So we placed her down here in the C tier. Next up, CAUSTIC. Older season players will probably be shocked by seeing the once legendary CAUSTIC down here. But the simple fact remains that he just isn't that powerful anymore. He's good indoors and under the right situation, but with so little damage, his scare factor has taken a major hit. Now, let's look into the B tier. Now, these legends are the ones you feel satisfied playing with. Not to mention anyone can have a decent chance at winning playing with them. To kick it off, we have LIFELINE. LIFELINE is no weak hitter, as she's arguably the MVP in arena games. But nonetheless, her Battle Royale performance could do some work. And most of that is because of her buff, which is clumsy and slow and just not that useful in a match. Moving on to our next one, Bangalore. Bangalore is one of those characters that, although not too incredible, is still really solid in all other aspects. Her passives are excellent, she does a great deal of damage, and her offense and defense are on point. We just wish she had slightly more team utility. Next up, Horizon. By far one of the most overpowered characters in previous seasons, Horizon was nerfed quite a bit recently, losing the effectiveness of her flying buff. But her ultimate remains super strong, and so she's here in the B tier. Coming up, we have WATTSON. Fun to play with, WATTSON is a great team player, and her fences are incredible to play with. However, we think her shield loading times could improve. Next, we have PATHFINDER. An old fan favorite, PATHFINDER deserves to be here just for the amount of fun we have playing with him. But his passives are just not good enough, otherwise he could very well be A tier. Now we come to the best of the class, the A tier. These guys are great, regardless of setup, and honestly do not need any real upgrades to be fun to play with. To start things off, we have REVENANT. It's no secret that REVENANT is one of the most solid legends out there. And despite him being quite controversial, he's just a really good pick for any kind of play. Next up, Crypto. Crypto is well loved by fans and has a great following, and for a good reason. His buffs and ultimate are incredible, and although he could use an increased radius on his ultimate, we think he's more than worthy of A tier. Moving on, we have WRAITH. Consistently great and easily one of the best legends to main. Wraith is an awesome choice, and would be higher up if she could compare better than the upcoming ones. Up next, OCTANE. With the best mobility in the game, it is no surprise how much OCTANE is loved. His jump pad can be used by all, which is also a bonus, so we feel comfortable with him placing up here. Now, we move on to the best of the best, the S tier of Apex Legends. These guys, if anything, need to be nerfed, but as it stands, it just doesn't get any better for anyone maining them. To kick things off, we have the newest legend, VALKYRIE. She's by far the most balanced and will probably be the single best ultimate in the game. It's no surprise why she's often considered the ideal legend by many. Up next, GIBRALTAR. Considered by most the single best one, GIBRALTAR is a must-have on your team. His bubble can make or break the game. You'd be a fool not to pick him. And finally, the best of the legends, we have BLOODHOUND. They're just way too useful for any team. These guys and their scan are imperative to winning any match, and they can decide the entire outcome of that match. So, they're our pick for best legend. Well guys, that was all for today. Did you agree with our list? How do you think they should have been numbered? Let us know in the comments down below. And with that, it's time to end today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like down below, and I'll see you in the next one.